Doom, doom. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and just put this in your hand real quick. Just take that, and you know what? Yep, that's on fully auto. That's fine. I just owe you a real quick apology, and while we're sitting here recording, I want to get it out of the way real quick. So it's okay. I understand if this news might spark anger, and so I'm just trying to give you a fair shot in front of everyone with witnesses that you can. I don't know what this is. Just letting Noah take out some anger that he could reasonably have at the news. I lost our Jurassic Park recording, and I'm really, really sorry. That hurt. I got a whip. What do you mean you lost it? So your mic kept like cutting in and out. Actually, I really don't care. I just wanted an excuse to shoot Daniel. It looks like I drew. Oh, I'm bleeding. Holy shit. Yeah, so I lost the recording because your mic kept like disconnecting, so there were like 20-second gaps throughout it. It's actually part of the reason I invested in these. Oh, wow, thanks. We should get sponsored by them. We should. They're really good, and I would let them sponsor us. I love these guys. What are they? I love. I'm gonna bleep that because they have not paid us yet. Cool. Do you want to just record Jurassic Park right now? That would be a pretty funny intro to the Jurassic Park discussion. Yeah, sure, let's do Jurassic Park. Are we just gonna hold the guns throughout it? Is that a... Seems like a mistake. No! No! You guys have seen Inglourious Bastards, right? We have had our first, don't you Me? I would never. The discussion has its first sponsor, and I wanted to find a way to bring you these ad spots in a new and refreshing way that's different. And it's really hard to talk when there's a gun pointed at me. Noah and I are gonna psychologically torment each other while trying to go through the talking points for today's sponsor, NordVPN. So, you go through the first talking point now. Too many passwords to keep track of. Feeling unsure of the safety of your personal data and files? NordVPN gets that and has your back. Advanced threat protection to keep you safe from a multitude of cybersecurity threats. NordVPN. Ow, my nipple! NordVPN's threat protection understands you want to feel safe when browsing, so their advanced threat protection neutralizes cyber threats before they can do any real damage to your device, identify threats like malware and ransomware, works to avoid malicious websites, and blocks trackers, intrusive ads without all that gunk clogging up your devices. You're able to browse smoother and faster. I didn't say anything yet! Choose among 5,600 plus NordVPN servers worldwide. And if you enable the threat protection feature in your NordVPN app settings, it protects browsing even when you're not connected to a NordVPN server. Secure up to 6 devices without... God damn it. Secure up to 6 devices with one single account. Best of all, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, you can cancel risk-free. So if you're interested in keeping your devices safe for the price of a cup of coffee, then head on over to nordvpn.com/thediscussion to check out your exclusive deal and save big. And thanks NordVPN for sponsoring this video! Directed by Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park came out in... Steven Spielberg? This is directed by Steven Spielberg. No, I'm just fucking around. 93. Came out in 1993. 2 years before I was born, if anyone was curious. Okay, so this is the least organized start to an episode we've ever had. We have new microphones, and these. New lens. Do you like the angle? It gives us more space. So, we talked about Jurassic Park once, so this is going to be a little bit of a briefer video because we don't want to do the whole phony, like, we didn't actually talk about it thing and pretend like that didn't happen when it did, but I screwed up. But, that being said, I think there were some really good things we talked about for Jurassic Park as a whole. Dino poop. Dino poop. So,
that is one big pile of shit.
We'll get into that in a minute. Let's not start with dino poop, but first I want to ask, do you think we need to go over the plot of this movie at all, or is it just so well known that's not even necessary? Dinosaurs are recreated with... that was actually a reasonably good impression. Thank you. Recreated using DNA that's found in amber fossilized mosquitoes. Oh my god. And combined with some frog DNA, and they go to a park, a giant theme park, and havoc ensues because you stood on the shoulders of giants, and you didn't think, you were so preoccupied thinking of whether we could do it that you didn't think to stop if we should. I do love that quote, and also another reasonably. No, that was a pretty reasonably good impression. Thank you. Well done. I think that was a good synopsis of this plot. I can't remember, why did they choose frogs again? Because frogs have... Oh, fuck, wait, hold on.
frogs have reptilian DNA. I think the reasoning was that it was like reasonably similar. It's been ages since I read the book, but not that long since I saw the
justification
movie.
online is because Crichton, the author
like
of the book, needed a scientific, in quotes, mechanism to get the dino to
moving genes around directly.
Oh, this is unrelated to Jurassic Park. That's just a thing that people are. Why was not entirely sure whether they knew this info or not when Jurassic Park
genetic material would make it easier for them to find DNA that corresponds
from frogs. They should know the size of the genome. The mean size of frogs.
Okay, so they're saying that there is enough extra genetic code in the frog DNA that they are under the assumption that there's like a reasonable enough chance that they can find some extra strands that they can just plop in.
They did a really good job of hand waving over that in the movie, and in the moment I just never questioned it.
Good job, Spielberg.
Yeah, that actually kind of ties into one of the big points we had for Jurassic Park in our first discussion as a whole. It is such a good movie that you really don't notice quite a few problems. There's from things like a hand being visible, like moving a velociraptor, to a pile of poo that's so gargantuan that there is absolutely no way it could have come out of that
Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Unless the Triceratops is returning to the same spot, but even at that point, like the mountain is still higher than the Triceratops. Like it just doesn't. Yeah. Doesn't track.
Not even a little. There's also Samuel L. Jackson's character just dying completely off screen and then being like, you know it's him because the arm's a black guy, so he died off screen somewhere. A lot of little issues that the movie is so good, you just don't care. Like the T-Rex coming out of fucking nowhere at the end.
Because no one would hear that, right?
No one.
And also, at no point during the film have we like prefaced the fact that the T-Rex is so large that you can see the vibrations.
I was just gonna say that.
So surely someone would have heard. I mean, maybe if you're like, terrified and velociraptors are about to eat you alive.
I'm gonna steal Noah's point. The poo sample that's taken from the Triceratops is not nearly big enough to like actually give you a diagnosis.
Yeah, they dig one arm in, which gross. I mean, good for you, but also they do not. Like, it should be splayed out on a giant map.
You have a lot of work with poo?
No.
But yes, these like flaws exist if you're going to nitpick the ever-living crap out of Jurassic Park. But it also has like so many basically perfect sequences. Like there's the scene with the Jeeps and the arrival of the T-Rex, which is, as you've mentioned before on the channel, like one of the most like perfect action and suspense sequences in the history of cinema. And rewatching it this time, I like had that expectation in mind, and because of that, I was like, it won't live up to it. But it still, just like beat by beat, is executed essentially flawlessly.
I think that is one of the marks of good direction or just good movie making and especially in this case, it really does feel like every scene is critical to the movie. Like every scene is capturing an important piece of detail, and that's really nice to know. Like as you're watching it, that you are so engrossed in everything that is happening and every little like detail, every conversation. It all plays a part to like how the movie develops. Yeah. And that's nice because plenty of times you will watch a movie where there is like a filler scene or just something that could be completely scrapped, or there's just like where they're doing it just to show off that like what they can do with CGI or something. Which, speaking of, one of the things that that I want to talk about with Jurassic Park is some of the first and best usage of CGI for living creatures. So we have a fantastic mix of practical effects, gigantic water-absorbing T-Rex
that fell through a roof of a Jeep and scared the shit out of some child actors.
And mixed with mixed with claymation, mixed with CGI. It is a marvel of technical
You need to clarify this. Claymation was used as a reference. It's not actually in the final film.
No. Claymation is not in the final film. Claymation was one of the last. This is actually, and I think there is a line taken from the owner of the claymation company that they used as references. Once that person saw the CGI of the dinosaurs, he was like, well, I'm extinct now. I think that's more or less the line, and then you can see it in the movie as they're walking through.
So what are you thinking?
We're out of a job. Don't you mean extinct?
And that was taken from Claymation Guy, and unfortunately, it is sad to say that was true. That was the last time that the claymation was used as life.
And it's still now the most successful CGI is stuff that uses real-life references and some practical blending. Not all the time. There is some pure CG stuff that is incredible. And I don't like that often CG artists are
dismissed. The people will be like, CG's like practical effects are better. No, some CGI artists are incredible, and yeah, you can see it in this movie. I mean, it doesn't look perfect because we're 30 years out. Wow.
Wow.
I'm 28 soon. But I think like this movie is a fantastic touchstone of like, even in its early days, there are CGI artists who are absolutely artists. They're able to take extremely limited technology and find new ways to utilize and make up for areas where it's lacking to make things that, especially for audience at this time, just wonder-inducing. And that goes to Steven Spielberg's direction, as you said. I've been on the record saying I don't think he's my favorite director. I don't think he's even in my top 10. But I'd be lying if I didn't admit, oh my God, the guy can instill a sense of wonder like few other directors can.
And mixed with his trusty partner, John Williams, my favorite, of course. But I think like part of the other things that we talked about with that is that one of the reasons we end up with something like this is because Steven Spielberg did not know the limitations of CGI at the time, and so just told the company to do this. I want dinosaurs. And
to be fair, he also had ILM, which is like the gold standard still for like top.
Now they are, yes, but like at the time they had, and now I have to check this.
He didn't just Google it. What were you saying, Noah?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was texting a friend.
He was texting a friend. What was the point you were making?
Spaz Williams, the guy who worked at ILM, who made all the dinosaurs.
Wait, his real name was Spaz Williams?
Steven Spaz Williams was basically like, yeah, I can fucking do that. And then pushed it's really cool. Pushed all the boundaries and ended up with like some of the best to this day CGI effects that we've seen, and proved to everyone else that CGI was a legitimate avenue to take for, doing living creatures, because up to that point, CGI had certainly been used, but mostly for like, I think most notably is Terminator 2, right? Where you have like the liquid goopy Terminator.
And something I think is really impressive about this movie, and specifically the actors involved, because this was so far ahead of its time. Now, if you're an actor, you're aware of some of the best practices for acting around CG and like what for reactions to do. And I'm sure they had some stuff on set for reference, like the amazing T-Rex prop. But there are many acting reaction shots where they're not looking at anything substantial and real.
The very first one where they see the Brachiosaurus.
Sell the hell out of it. And I'd love to know what Steven Spielberg did as a director to get those reactions.
What else do we want to talk about? The fact that Harrison Ford turned down the role of Dr. Alan Grant, and
I didn't know that. We didn't talk about that last time.
Not?
No.
Yeah, no. So Sam Nielsen, that's his name, right?
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill was obviously took the role and was offered the role, but he was not the first choice, and like several other actors, other than Laura Dern, other than Sam Neill, and other than Sam Jackson, were offered like various, main roles in Jurassic Park, one of them notably being Harrison Ford, who was offered the role of Dr. Alan Grant, who turned it down and to this day says he made the right choice.
Yeah, I agree with him in a weird way. Don't get me wrong. I see Harrison Ford in the role. I think he'd do a great job. Yeah. But I also really love Sam Neill, and I love this being Sam.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I love this being Sam Neill's role. Because he's someone I think is underappreciated, and this is probably, no, it's not probably, it is his most iconic role, like by a fucking mile.
Yeah.
God, that's really interesting. But I always want to visit the alternative universe where you do have Harrison Ford as Dr. Alan Grant, and then maybe Sam Neill as Indiana Jones. Be a very different vibe there.
It would be. I love you, Sam Neill.
I do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, his performance in this movie, watching it as an adult, he captures a very specific kind of adult I hope to be one day before he starts liking kids very well. Because he's just willing to scar children for funsies, and I think that's great.
Oh, you mean the scene with the Velociraptor claw at the beginning? Incredible.
This 12-year-old kid is having like a dinosaur.
He deserves it. What a little snot-nosed brat.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve to be given nightmares forever.
No, he does.
But yeah, as a film, I mean, Jurassic Park lives up to the hype. I think even visually it holds up today, despite seeing a man's hand just like slap a velociraptor ass at one point.
Go get him.
Did I tell you about koi fish?
Did I do that in the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Cut all that. Okay, so one of the...
No, you did it in the last video we put out. Yeah, that was put out in the Roma video.
Damn.
Which someone in the comment section was not happy with you for that. There was someone who was like, funny joke, why is it in this movie discussion? And I just want to let you all know, there's going to be a lot more bullshit like that. But sorry for this discussion of Jurassic Park being a bit different than our usual format. We just didn't want to like lie and be like, no, we haven't done this yet, but we wanted to hit a lot of the key points, and it's absolutely a movie worth talking about. But it does bring me to asking you our series of questions. Do you think Jurassic Park should be remade today? Which is kind of a loaded question because it basically was with Chris Pratt.
You know what? I think that there is some validity to remaking it. I don't like the recent remakes are not my favorite, right? But I think that kind of comes with something that
reboot, sequel,
reboots.
Those never work.
The things that we've talked about in the past are always going to be relevant, which is that just because they're not our favorite doesn't mean that they're not starting a new generation. Like I have a friend with kids who like their son is obsessed with the new movies. And who the hell am I to tell him like that those are the worst movies and go back and watch the original trilogy because it makes him interested in dinosaurs. And at the end of the day, like having a base of fans who like appreciate what like the creativity they're putting out there and being inspired by that is really like what you should be looking for. So
maybe controversial take. The best part of the new Jurassic Park movies has been that they've kept some of the horror vibes. Like that scene, everyone gave that one scene where the woman's like eaten alive by flying like birds, like crap for being over the top. I'm like, what do you think's gonna happen when dinosaurs break out? They're gonna eat people. And then the sequence with the monster essentially moving through the mansion, I think it's in the second one that it's like a horror sequence. Like it wasn't a great movie, but that sequence, I was like, it's pretty scared. Yeah, I was kind of scared. And I will disagree. I think they could redo it if instead of trying to make or remake Spielberg's movie, they went back to the book and tried to use it to be inspired in a different way. I actually think Spielberg's movie is better than the book.
I would agree.
But I think there are really good enough ideas in the book that you could make another great movie in a different direction with it.
Which we have talked about, which is why are there not more dinosaur movies? Is that what we talk like? You know, or not necessarily dinosaur movies. There are plenty of dinosaur movies, but mostly just that concept of, oh, we can recreate X, Y, or Z. Why have we not?
Yeah, there's a good amount of them, but they're all very like monster sci-fi, and they're not these like more natural threats, which I think it adds a really different, interesting angle because you have this like this really used to exist feeling. You could even do it with time travel, which I think Stargate did a bunch, stuff like that. But yeah, there is we're not saying there's no like creature or dinosaur movies, but it feels like there should be more. Like it feels like the market is not as saturated as it could be. And dear God, with the amount of money that the Jurassic Park movies still make at the level of quality they're at, there's a desire for them.
Yeah, clearly. What's the last question? Is it, well, so Jurassic Park is technically not on the AFI.
And I would put it in mine.
I think the hottest take of this whole thing is that I would probably replace Jaws with Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg has, I think, 4 on the list, and granted, the argument here is that Jaws really sets the stage for like what Steven Spielberg is capable of. It's one of the first blockbusters. It's a monster thing, and you have like sort of practical effects. This sort of monstrous fear. But ultimately, Jurassic Park is a minute-to-minute, better executed, more interesting film, I think, than Jaws.
It's got more interesting themes explored throughout it. It's got debatably more interesting characters. Its structure and pacing, we didn't touch on that much, but wow, Jurassic Park is very well structured in my opinion. The threats are elevated. And don't get me wrong, I love Jaws, but I think like comparing the two, I do think that on almost every, especially technical level, Jurassic Park is much more impressive, especially because Jaws, some of those practical effects I think don't hold up as well as Jurassic Park's CG, which is really surprising, but there's some shots with Bruce where you're like, that's Bruce. So Jaws sucks ass, is what we're saying.
Put Jurassic Park on the AFI, you cowards.
I also would like to see a foreign remake of Jurassic Park. I think that it'd be interesting to see like because a lot of different countries kind of approach horror and sci-fi different than us.
Yeah. Although I will say that's a very good segue because I think our next feature is going to be another foreign film. It is the French movie Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which I am super excited to do. It is one of my favorite films, and it is incredible. I highly recommend it. So if you are interested in that, please go watch it before you watch our next video.
Yes, and Emily will be joining us for that one because his wife, which I get to say now, she's married. Sorry, everyone in our comment section. Everyone in our comment section who thirsts after you is massively disappointed.
Ben, you can cut that if you want.
And there was something else we need to tell them. Like and subscribe if you have not already.
Smash that like, please. Oh, sorry.
What?
You don't have to keep that in there.
That really weird beat is how we're going to end this. Okay, bye! Oh, we weren't recording. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Okay, I deserve